Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gina Marie Agderian. I am the author of The Letters in the Old House, available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle. I will have a link to purchase the book in the description below. So today is another episode of Book Talk. This is a series I do where I talk about a book that I recently read, what I enjoyed, what I didn't enjoy about it, and ultimately help you determine if you would like to read this book. So today's book is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. As you could probably tell from the cover, it is a thriller. I would almost say it's kind of like a gothic horror, like a modern gothic horror novel. If thrillers and being scared out of your pants is not your jam, you definitely want to skip this. This gets a 5 out of 5 for me. I love thrillers. I finished this book. I stayed up, I'm not kidding, I stayed up until 1 in the morning reading this book because I had about 100 pages left, and I'm just like, all right, let's just get through this because I got to see what happens at the end. I loved this book. I actually had a really hard time falling asleep the night that I finished it because that's how much it creeped me out. It was just a really creepy book. So this premise is about a woman named Maggie Holt. She's in her early 30s, and she had lived in a home for 20 days with her parents. She's an only child, and that house was basically a house of horrors. They had allegedly a lot of crazy haunting stuff going on, and she really doesn't remember any of it. But there was a lot of haunting stuff going on, a lot of weird stuff going on in the house. And her father, who was a struggling writer at the time, wrote a nonfiction, I'll put this in quotes, nonfiction account of what happened in the house. He made a ton of money off of it. The father passes away and she inherits the house, but she didn't realize that her father still owned the house. She thought that it had been sold or that the family had just no longer been in possession of the house. So it was one of those things where they stayed in the house for 20 days and they were so scared that they just left in the middle of the night and never came back. This is a book within a book, so it toggles back and forth between present day Maggie and then the book that her father wrote. So you get to see her father's writing, and then you kind of piece things together. Maggie is very convinced that everything that her father wrote was a lie, so you kind of dig through that. I will not give anything away on that. This book took me on so many crazy twists and turns and weird things happening, and I will say the beginning of the book, probably about the first 100 pages, I was kind of like, oh, this is really slow. It just felt like a very slow burn in the beginning. And then I think once you get past about the first 100, 125 pages, then it feels like you're at the top of the roller coaster and just like going all the way down really fast, and everything just starts unfolding and happening quicker and quicker. And it was a wild ride. This is a book you want to read if you feel like getting really scared and being frightened and just getting into a really good thriller or horror novel. And I really enjoyed it. If you get anxious about reading about horror or thrillers, again, skip this. Just some trigger warnings, child neglect, child abuse. You could probably read a whole list of trigger warnings, but just if that's not something you want to read about or something that that upsets you enough to skip a book, then again, skip this book. But Home Before Dark by Riley Sager, you have to read it. If you're into thrillers, you absolutely have to read this. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this book, what you liked, what you didn't like, or if you plan to read the book. And as always, guys, happy reading.